I know y'all been waiting for it. I know y'all been waiting for it. This was probably one of y'all favorite segments of all segments that I've ever done on my channel, and it is back. So let's get into it, you guys. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Bitch, Are You Serious? Okay, that's what this is called. Now, for those of you, because I know I have a lot of new subscribers at this point in time, for those of you who are new to my channel and don't know what Bitch, Are You Serious is, Bitch, Are You Serious is basically story times where I talk about the WTF moments of my life. I talk about the craziest stuff that has ever happened to me. It could be past, present, recent, anything. It could be anything. It's a crazy story that you would never believe that happened to me, because trust and believe me, Scotty has a lot of stories to tell. Scotty has stories that he ain't even told yet. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff to tell y'all, a lot of stuff to say. And I've been doing this segment, on and off on my channel here and there. But I recently did one in November. I had not done one in probably over a year. And I know you guys was like, yeah, I miss your segments. I miss your Bitch Are You Serious segments or whatever. So I decided to bring it back this year. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to start it off with talking about how I found my Uncle Mark. I know that I recently talked about it on my community wall, how I found my Uncle Mark and how I will be seeing him for the very first time since 1993. You know what I'm saying? He came here, he spent 2 weeks with us, and y'all want to know everything about that. Y'all want to know how this even came about, how I even found him, why he's been gone for so many years. Y'all want to know all of that, right? So that's why I'm here to tell you guys that. Now, I was going to wait to do this, Bitch, Are You Serious, until next Sunday. But I'm like, why not do it tonight? Why not do it tonight? Because I have other stories to tell. So why not do it tonight? Why not just make it, why not just do it tonight or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So, however, let's get into it. Damn. It look like I got a spot on my shirt. Yeah, this Pepsi wasted on my shirt. So, whatever. Okay, so let's get into it. So, my Uncle Mark. Okay, this whole thing started back last year. Now, for those of you who don't know, my Uncle Ken passed away from throat cancer last year. Now, my Uncle Mark and my Uncle Ken are not my mother's siblings. They're her first cousins. However, my mother doesn't have any siblings. So they were raised together as siblings. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter. They're my uncles. They consider me a nephew. That's how they look at us. You know what I mean? They consider my mom sis. You know what I mean? Like Uncle Ken was my mother's big brother. Uncle Marcus, my mother's little brother. Like that's basically what it is. Those are my uncles. You know what I mean? The closest thing I have to uncles, right? Right. So back in March of 2021, my mother came to me and told me that my Uncle Ken had 6 months to a year to live. Um, that struck me in a way that I never thought it would. For most of the time, Ken was out of the state of Mississippi for most of my life because he was in the military and he spent most of his time in Pennsylvania. That's where he lived at most of the time. So it wasn't many times that I could see Ken the way that we would have wanted to see him, but yet and still he was around. You know what I mean? He came down here for a lot of important things. He was around. He talked to my mom. He helped us out quite a bit. So his presence was still felt. I got wind that he was coming down to Mississippi. My mother was like, I feel like Ken is coming down here to pass on. And I was like, don't say that. I ain't want her to say that. Why? Because I actually had my Uncle Vest, who was also really sick. I think he had cancer too. He died in 2018. And that's exactly why he came back to Mississippi, because he was dying. He wanted to take his last breath at home with his family. You know what I mean? He left Florida, came down here, and about 2 months later he passed on. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wanted. So when I heard my mother say that, I was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. So she said he's not even supposed to be on the road. Him and his wife was on the road. My uncle Ken went to the hospital maybe twice on their way down here from Mississippi, from Pennsylvania. So it was a lot going on, but he made it. My brother was in college still at the time. So it was no one here but me and my mom. As I've told y'all many, many times before, this is a big ass house. Okay. My mom is way at the front. You got to walk through the living room to get to her bedroom. She's way at the front with her own bathroom. I'm way in the back with an extra room stuck to my room with a back door. I have my own entrance way. Nobody, I could be in and out the house and nobody know that I'm going. That's how big this house is. Half the time we don't even be seeing each other like that. We have to text each other to say, hey, come here, or hey, let me talk to you for a second. Like, that's how big this house is. We can't yell and scream each other's name around here because we won't hear each other. So yeah. Yeah. So it was just me and my mom. And my brother was at school. My sister, of course, when we moved here, she moved to her own place. So him and his wife was sleeping in my brother's room because my brother was in college. He wasn't here. And he had like a tube in his throat. I had to like the little tube in his throat. And it was weird seeing it because the last time I saw him, he was very healthy. He was smiling. He was cooking on the grill. He was doing the things that Uncle Ken would do. So he really wasn't himself, but I still recognized him. You feel what I'm saying? So, okay. It was like I was happy to see him, but I wasn't happy to see him in that state. You know what I'm saying? And so he was very sick, very sick. Um, and it was just crazy how sick he was. I didn't realize how sick he really was until he got here. And when he first got here, Uncle Ken could still do for himself. He could still he could go to the bathroom by himself. He could take his own showers. Nobody had to do anything for him when he first got here, right? The biggest thing that he wanted from us was to find his youngest brother, Mark. That's what he kept on instilling in our head. I want y'all to find my brother. 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 And at this point, Mark had not been to the state of Mississippi since 1993. That was literally 28 years at that time. He had not been here. Nobody had seen him or heard from him in 28 years. We didn't know if he was dead or if he was alive. We had no idea. So we really didn't know how we would find him. All we know is that he left here in 1993 after my great grandmother's funeral and he was never to be seen again. One thing that I do remember growing up is that around 1999, when my mother was pregnant with my youngest brother, Pootie, she had gotten a phone call from my auntie Jackie, which is Ken and Mark's oldest sister, who was very close to my mom. She's like 4 years older than my mom. They grew up as sisters. She got a phone call saying that she found him. At the time, Jackie, who was also in the military, was in Cheyenne, Wyoming at the time. She was doing a part time at a mall in Cheyenne. She was doing security. So when she saw him, she saw this guy from behind and she said, that looks like my little brother. That looks like my little brother, like my little brother. So then when she when she walked up on him, she tapped him and it was Uncle Mark. She had not seen Mark since 1993. At this point, it's 99. So how many years ago was that? Maybe 5 or 6 years ago? 6 years ago. She had not seen him in 6 years since their grandmother's funeral. So they kept in contact for a short time, but then her base moved her to Florida. After she left and went to Florida, she had not heard from Mark again. Her and Mark lost touch. So he did call my mom in 99. They did talk. Again, she had not heard from Mark nor seen Mark since 93. They talked. He was supposed to be coming to Mississippi, but something happened and he wasn't able to come. So 1999 was the last time my mother had heard Mark's voice, right? So we knew that Ken was on his way out. And we knew that that's what he wanted. He wanted his brother. He wanted his brother. He wanted his brother. For so many years, he had been wondering where his brother was. So many years he wanted to know where Mark was. Now, the last time Mark was here, I was 4 years old. So I don't really remember Mark at this point. I don't really remember him. I don't remember a face. I don't have a face. All I have is a name. All I hear is my mother talking about Mark this, Mark that, Mark this, Mark that. Don't really know what he looks like. Don't know, don't know where he, don't know how his voice sound. I just don't know at this point. So it's just like a complete mystery for me. Like for so many years, I keep hearing this name, Mark, Mark this, Mark that, and I'm curious to know who he is. So for many, many years, when social media started, I would look him up on Facebook all the time, just wondering how he looks. All I know is that my mother said that he was a dark-skinned man. But we really just didn't know where to turn because we didn't know where he was. You know what I'm saying? So how could I really find him on Facebook? So it was just like I would try to Google him, I would try to find him, and I just didn't know what to do at that time. And like really around that time, I was like 18, 19 when I was trying to look him up and stuff. So I left and went to Detroit. Before I left, Uncle Ken could still talk. He could still do for himself. When I got back from Detroit, he no longer could talk. And that was like, wow, it's amazing how that changes. You know what I'm saying? So after that, you could see him slipping away every single day. It was to the point to where I could not sit in a room with Ken for too long because it was hard to see. And I couldn't get away from it because I have to see it every day. I would have to see it all the time. And it was so hard to see. That wasn't the person that I knew. You know what I mean? Like he was losing weight, he couldn't talk. So it was weird not hearing him speak. He had this voice of life in him. And it was hard not to hear it anymore. And then he couldn't go to the bathroom on his own. He had to, you know, get, like a thing, like a pot and stuff like that. And not only that, one night my mom caught him with one of his guns. He tried to kill himself and everything. Like he tried to take himself out because he was tired of the cancer. He was tired of living. He was sick. He was ready to go. He was ready to get it out of him. So, you know, oh God. Mm. So his sister Jackie, we got in contact with her. And she was saying that she would try to get to Mississippi in July. This was in April. She said, I would try to be there in July because I don't know if my job is going to let me off. I said, if you wait till July, you're going to regret that. If you wait until July, you're going to regret that. Oddly enough, she made it to Canton, Mississippi in May. not knowing this was going to be his last weekend on this earth. So, oh, I'm feeling chills talking about this. So, she got here. I did not realize it had been that long since they had seen each other. It was May 2021. She said she had not seen her brother since he was like in his early 20s. And here he is 57. You're 59. And you have not seen your brother since then? You know, it was weird to me because no matter how much my sisters and brothers get on my nerves, I can't imagine not being around them for over 35 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long time to be away from your siblings, like, for real. But I know that she had her own stuff going on. Like, she was going through a lot of trauma that she was trying to get away from. She had to heal herself because being here was a trigger for her. I'm not making excuses, but that's what it was. So she had definitely not seen her brother since the 80s. And here it is, 2021. And the first time she sees him in so many years, he's sick on his deathbed. Me and Jamar was supposed to go to Dallas that weekend, right? We had a hosting that we were supposed to do, but the hosting got canceled the day before we were supposed to catch the plane. So I stayed at home that whole weekend. I was with Ken all that weekend. We had something at the house. A lot of our family members showed up. We were cooking. It's just he was surrounded by nothing but family. It was on a Sunday night, and then the next day, Jackie had left. She was like she was about to go back down to Jackson, to our cousin house. That's who she was staying with while she was here, and she said she was gonna get herself ready to get back on the plane so she could head on back to Maryland. And that was on Monday. So we was like, okay, I think her flight was like that Monday night, late Monday night, early Tuesday morning or something like that. I think that's when her flight was. So that Monday, if I'm not mistaken, we had done the whether you like it or not panel that night. And then I was walking through the house, and then he at this point my brother's back from college. So he's sleeping in the den now. He got this hospital bed set up, got all his equipment set up and everything like that. So it's like a little bit after we did the whether you like it or not panel, we had just shut it down or whatever for like a few hours prior to this. And then I'm just walking through the house to find something to drink. And it's like 12:30 in the morning. And normally around this time, Ken is like knocked out. Like Ken is dead to the bed at this point. No pun intended, but dead to the bed at this point. Like he's normally sleep, knocked out at this point. Ken was wide awake this particular night. He was wide awake. And I was just like, you need anything? And because he couldn't talk, he was like, "Mm." And I was like, okay. I was going in there. I think I was either getting me a Pepsi or a Coke. It was one of them. Went in there, went in the kitchen, got it, came back, and I was like, well, good night, Ken. I see you in the morning. And he was like, and I was like, good night. And then I went in my room and I laid down and I went to sleep. That was 12:30 in the morning. The next morning, it was 8 a.m., 8:15 a.m. probably. I get a knock on my door. I'm like, it's open. She was like, my mom walked in. She said, she's crying. She says, Ken is gone. And I said, gone where? Like, is he gone to the hospital? Is he gone, where? He's dead. So I was like, okay, okay. And then she walked out of my room and she got in the bed with Ken. She laid down next to Ken. And I could not look at that. I'm trying so hard to fight the tears, y'all. So it's like I did not feel anything at that moment. It's like I was just going on about my day. Like I had to go to work like that day. I had to go to work at like what 11:10 something. Knew I had to go to work at 11 that day. And so I'm just walking around the house, just making all the phone calls, letting the family know that he's passed on. And my mom was on the phone with Jackie. Jackie was at her layover, and she had to give her the news. And then she was like, she got to come back in a few days, get ready for the funeral, all of this stuff. And I'm just walking around the house like nothing is going on. Like this man is not laying in the other room dead as we're waiting for the people to come get him. Just walking around making, yeah, Ken just passed. Yeah, Ken just passed. Yeah, Ken just passed. He just passed away this morning. Yeah, he just passed. Yeah, he's passed. Yeah. Like nothing is going on. So I get up, I get dressed for work. As I'm getting ready to leave to go to work, the funeral people are here to pick up his body, and everybody in the house is crying. And I'm just like, I cannot do this. I'm going to work. Everybody say, don't go to work, don't go to work. And I'm like, I gotta go. I can't be here. So I get in the car, head on off to work, and then it's like 10 minutes until my drive to work because my drive to work is literally like 19 minutes. So as I'm driving to work, I get a phone call from a family friend who asked me, "Is Ken passed?" And I said, "Yeah." And I literally like break down in tears, and I just could not stay on the phone. And I'm steady trying to drive to work. That's just how much of a hustler I am. I would still try to go to work. It don't matter what it is. I would still try to go to work. I'm bawling all the way to work. I get to work. My coworkers see me a distraught, emotional mess. They tell me to go home. Clock in anyway. I go talk to my manager. She says, no, you need to go home. You don't need to be here. You need to go home. Go home. So I go home. And I cry again. And I just lay in the bed all day. So then, we go ahead and then, we bury him by, I think that Monday we buried him and all that other stuff. Family was together. So after Ken passed, that was a lot to deal with. There was a whole lot to deal with. Um, it hit me because I was the last person to interact with him before he died. And I literally was crying. Like every time I thought about him, I would cry every time. And it was a lot. And I think it's because he died right here in my home. That was a lot. And it was not easy not seeing him every day. I know that when I left that day to go to work, he was still laying there peacefully. He was dead, but he was laying there peacefully. And when I came back home from work, I came back, he was gone. And I cried again. It was a lot. The biggest thing that we tried to do was find Mark so he can attend the funeral, and we just didn't know how to find him. We just didn't know, and we felt like we failed him because we couldn't find him. So about 2 months later, it's July the 7th. I have COVID, sick as a dog, not knowing that it's COVID, but I'm sick as a dog. And I'm sitting there talking to my mom, and I'm sitting there talking to my cousin, which is Ken, Jackie, and Mark's sister. We're talking about my great grandmother's home and how it was condemned and how the city later on knocked it down and how it could have been a home for everybody to stay at when they came home for Christmas, and they wouldn't have to go to a hotel, or if they came back for a funeral or whatever, they all could have stayed there. That could have been where they stayed at. Like that could have been, the family home. We could have had family dinners there. We could have done a lot with that house. But greedy family members just want to write it off on their taxes and didn't do anything with it. So the house literally got condemned. A crackhead was living in it. It was just a hot mess. And then eventually it got knocked down. We still own the land. It's still air property, but no one's doing anything with it. I know that my dog, Shamrock, who passed away in 2007, is buried on that land. That's all I know. So July the 7th, we were sitting there talking about the house. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I just Googled the address of that house just to see how it looked on Google Maps. What would show up on Google Maps. And then as I did that, it led me into this website. And it had every name that was associated with that address. So I'm just looking through all these names. I saw my mama name. It had every single address she ever had, every single phone number, like everything, all the way back to the 70s, everything. And I run across my Uncle Mark's name. And it said he was age 48 and he was in San Francisco, California. So I looked at my cousin Deidre and I said, "How old is Mark?" She said, "Mark turned 48 in January this year." I said, "Y'all might need to look into this." And she was like, "Into what?" I said, "I think I found Mark." "Wait a minute. How did you do that?" I said, "I wasn't even trying to find him. I literally was just sitting here Googling the address to Mom's house. And all these this website just popped up that I wasn't even trying to click on, and all these names just popped up. And the only reason why I kept going on this site is because I saw my mama name, I saw your name, I saw your brother Ricky's name, I saw all these different names, and it made me just look down, and I saw his name. And so I ran and told my mom. My mom was trying to get dressed and she could barely put her clothes on because I ran up in there with this news. So I go in there and I tell her, I said, "Y'all, they got every email address they got. They got every email address from him. They got like his most recent email address and his most recent phone number up here. They have an address for him. They have it all. So if y'all want to take this information and do what you will with it, do what you will with it. It won't hurt for you to use it. It won't hurt for you to use it." My mom said, "Okay, I am going to email him because he needs to know that his brother passed. I'm going to email him." Deidre wanted the phone number. Okay. So she gave him a call. She didn't get an answer. My mom was sitting there typing up the email. I don't know what she said in the email, but she was typing it up. Deidre called the phone a second time. She didn't get an answer. But the next day, however, I walked into the room and my mom said, my mom was like this, "Mark is on the phone. Mark is on the phone. Mark is on the phone." I'm like, "He is?" She was like, "Yes, he's on the phone. He's on the phone." I'm like, "Oh my God. Like, oh my God. I cannot believe that I was the one that did it." My mom was sitting in the sunroom, and in that sunroom, there's like this big old thing that got Ken's face on it. Got his name up there, and it got 1963 to 2021. It got that up there. And that's the first thing I did was look up there at him, and I said, "I made your wish come true." And I just didn't know what to say because it just really fell into my lap. Like it fell in my lap. Like I was never I did not try, and I'm just being honest. I did not try to find him at all. Like that, what I wasn't even trying to at that moment. It was just something that I just did. It fell into my lap, and it was right there. And for my mama to be smiling like that and be so happy the way that she was, that meant more to me than anything. Cause my mama hasn't been happy for a while. So when she found when I found this man and when she was sitting on that phone with him and the way she was smiling and happy she was, and Jackie called, all three of them was on the three-way and stuff. They literally talked all night. When I say all night, I mean all night. He called like around 7:30 that night, and they stayed on the phone till about 7 o'clock that morning. They stayed on the phone all night. She went to bed. She woke up. That late on that night, they was back at it again. Them first few nights, it was really literally 10-hour phone conversations. Literally, them first few nights. I didn't even get a chance to talk to him the way that I wanted to, but I was talking to him. But I let my mama have that moment because she wanted to find Mark. Even before Ken died, she wanted to find Mark. She would always wish him a happy birthday on her Facebook page every time his birthday came. She said, "Wherever you are, I love you." That's what she would say all the time. She was so happy. She was so happy. Everybody was happy. He was happy. He thanked me for finding him. He had been gone for so long, and he had his reasons to stay away. My mom's side is full of trauma. Very much so, full of trauma. Anybody would want to leave. So I definitely understood it. But she was happy. And they haven't missed a beat. So she was like, he said he's coming for the holidays. He was coming for Christmas. And I was like, okay, cool. I was excited, but I was a little bit nervous at the same time. And as a matter of fact, his birthday was on the 20th. The first day, he's a first day Aquarius. So his birthday was on the 20th. And so I was like, okay. I was excited and nervous because that man has not been around me since I was 4 years old. And now he's about to meet me as a 32-year-old working grown man. I was at work and I said, when Mark gets here, I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be at work. This is my late day. That man literally drove from San Jose. He drove 28 hours nonstop. He did not stop once. He only stopped to take a piss and to stretch. That man drove the whole 28 hours to Mississippi by himself to come see us. I got home from work like at 9:30. I was walking through and I saw him from behind. And I opened the door and he gave me this big hug. And I'm like, I cannot believe that this is him. Like, this is him. This is the infamous Mark. This is him. And what sucks about it is that I was at work most of the time he was here. So whatever time I got to spend with him, I was appreciative of it. And he was so excited. It was the little things that made him excited while he was here. He went to a corner store with my mom and there was some Mystic in the freezer. And he was beyond excited. He said, "Oh my God, I haven't seen no Mystic in years." And it's crazy, but I understood it. Then they went to my job and he said, "Oh my God, y'all got Clearly Canadian. They do not sell that here. I remember me and your mom used to drink that shit all the time." Like, he bought the whole rack, like literally the whole rack of Clearly Canadian and brought it to the house. He bought a whole rack of Mystic and took it home. That was the shit that was so funny, but it was the little things that he was excited about. "Oh, the Hollow Burger stand's still open. I gotta get one before I leave." He was so excited about the little things. And when he got back here, he couldn't even recognize it because it's grown over the years, so he could not recognize it. He didn't know where the hell he was at. But he said, "I wouldn't like when I left here, none of this was here. Just the McDonald's, just Wendy's, just the gas station, just Pizza Hut. All this other stuff was not here." maybe 2 hotels was here, but now y'all got a whole damn strip of hotels, like straight up. And I'm like, yeah. So it was crazy. It was very crazy. So um he was just he linked up with old classmates. Like, him and my brother spent a lot of time together because, he wasn't around when Pootie was born. Like, Pootie was born in 2000, so Mark was long gone by then. And he was just riding around Canton and just taking it all in. Like, he could not believe that he was on Mississippi soil because, like I said, he hadn't been on Mississippi soil in almost 30 years. And he just kept thanking me for bringing him back around and just doing this because he stayed away for a reason. He had his reasons for staying away. He had a lot of trauma here, but he was just happy to be around and happy to see my mom. Happy, just happy. And the night he left on the 4th of January this month. He left. He was leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, and my mom called my phone to wake me up to see him off. Because we didn't get to take no pictures together at all while he was here. Because it was just that, normally I pull out my camera in a minute and take a photo, but I was just in awe that he was here. So we didn't get to take no picture until he was getting ready to go. And I had on like a wife beater just like this and some black short pants. And I said, we did not get to take a picture. And we took a picture right before he left. He got in the car. We hugged him. My mama started crying. He was like, I'll be back. I'll be back. And that was pretty much it. Like, it was a surreal experience. Like, he was so happy to see me. He was very happy to see my sister. Because she was like 2 or 3 when he left. Like, I know I was 4, she was like maybe 2 or 3 when he left. So he had not been back to Mississippi since then. And that was like I said, I was in awe. Like, the entire time I was in awe. In awe. Could not believe that this was actually happening. So Uncle Mark has replaced, not necessarily replaced, but set in is now sitting in Uncle Ken's chair at this point. He's sitting in his chair. He's doing the things that Uncle Ken did for us. He's there for us like Uncle Ken was in so many different ways. And you know, it's a bittersweet thing for me because I really wish that Uncle Ken was here to see that we found his brother. Like, I wish he was here to see that. Like, that's the only thing. But it happened this way for a reason. It happened this way for a reason. But I appreciate, I just, it makes my heart warm I was the one that did it. The least one you would expect to do it, you know? So, yeah, I did it. I found my Uncle Mark. And the rest is history. Uncle Mark is here to stay. But just reliving and, going down the list of the chain of events that happened leading up to my Uncle Ken's passing is a lot. But I miss my Uncle Ken. I really do. I really miss my Uncle Ken. I do. But hey, that's my big Are You Serious for today. Please like, rate, comment, subscribe to my channel. Also, be sure to click that notification bell so you can be notified whenever a video drops. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter and my IG will be down below. I do follow back on Twitter, so be sure to hit me up in the DMs and let me know that you're a part of Team Scotty. Hit me up with the hashtag message. Hashtag Team Scotty. That lets me know that you're a part of the team. That lets me know that you support me. That lets me know that you are here to stay. And I would definitely follow you back if I see that message, okay? Now, with that being said, you guys, your boy is out of here. Until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all your support. I'm almost at 30, almost at 29K. Get me there. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace out.